Welcome to Learn Divine Music. This is your music theory teacher, Miss Vine. Welcome to the video.
Lesson 1. Scales. To be able to work out a scale, first you need to understand what is a scale. A scale is described as a sequence of notes that musicians use to be able to determine the key of a song. We use a key to be able to understand what chords should be used and what notes should be played. Moving on to the two types of keys that I'll be demonstrating in this video. Starting out with a major key. A major key is typically described as a happier tone. For this lesson, I'll be showing you a diagram of a piano. The notes on a piano start and end with the notes of C. The middle note of the keyboard is also the note of C. We typically call this the middle C. All the notes on a piano go in alphabetical order, so the other 7 notes are from A to G. However, as I stated, we start on the note of C, so it would typically go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. These are the white notes on the diagram. For the black notes on the diagram, these are known as sharps and flats. Sharp and flats typically correspond to the direction of the scale. For a major key, the notes are known as sharps. For another type of key known as minor, these notes are known as flats. Depending on the type of key you're using, this information can change. Now moving on to creating a major scale. To create any scale, you need to understand the movement. A tone is a 2-step movement, including the black notes. A semitone is a 1-step movement. Here is a diagram of a semitone and a tone movement. To create any major scale, the movement is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. If that movement is a bit confusing, another way to be able to tell is by whole note and half note. For example, a tone would be a whole note. A semitone would be a half note. So it would go whole note, half note, whole note, whole note, whole note, and finally a half note. The easiest example of a major key is typically C major. For C major, the notes would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The reason why it would be this is because we start off with C, then we do a full tone movement. So from C, we skip C sharp and we move to D. From D, we skip D sharp and move to E. Then it's a semitone, so that is a half note. So we go from E to F. From F, we would move a full tone. So we would skip F sharp and move to G. From G, we would skip G sharp and move to A. We would move from A, skip A sharp and move to B. And then finally for the semitone, we would move from B to C. In the comments, can you give me an example of what D major would be? Moving on to a minor scale. To be able to create a minor scale, first you need to understand what is a minor scale. Unlike a major scale, where we typically describe it as a happy scale, a minor scale is a lot more sad and is typically known as the sadder scale. We use the same information I've given you on scales, however, some of the information changes. So, for example, a minor scale has a completely different movement pattern. To create a minor scale, the pattern is tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. If you're working it out through whole notes and half notes, the minor scale pattern would be whole note, half note, whole note, whole note, whole note, whole note, and finally a half note. Since we use the C major scale to identify how to create a major scale, it would be easiest to use the C minor scale when discussing about the minor scales. So, for C minor, it would be C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B, and back to C. The explanation behind this is because we started on C, we did a tone movement and made our way back to D, because we skipped D flat. Moving from D, we make a semitone jump, which will get us to E flat. Then using a tone jump, we would skip E and move to F. Continuing the pattern, we would make another tone jump, making our way to G and ignoring G flat. Then from G, we move again with another tone, from G to A, ignoring A flat. From A again, we make another tone jump from A to B, ignoring B flat. Then we make a semitone jump and get ourselves back to the beginning with C. If you're confused by the fact that I used flats instead of sharps, as I explained prior, the minor scale has flats. In the comments, can you give me an example of what D minor would be? Thank you for watching this video on scales. Next week I'll be releasing a video on modes. It will use the same information, so it's easier to go in the order that I've released them. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.